Hey, how is everybody? Al here, and welcome to the channel. A special welcome if you are a guest here. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you're a guest here, then I definitely hope, as always, that you love your time here and that you will consider hitting that subscribe button at the end of this. So we are talking Into the Badlands today, but I do want to say this real quickly before we get into it. I do have some other things planned for the channel as well, so make sure that you stick around. We're going to do something that's kind of interesting that I was thinking about with the channel, so we'll see how it goes. We'll talk about that later. But Into the Badlands today, that's what we are getting into today. So if you're a fan of that show and you've not subscribed, then you just have to hit the subscribe button, because one of the things that we do on this channel, it is a mission on this channel, is to cover that show heavily. So we're going to do a prediction video. You guys know that we are in a holding pattern for season 3. We left off with episode 8. We will get the second half of the season starting in January. Don't get me started about why we have to wait so long. We just do. But I thought this is the perfect time to actually talk about what we saw in the last episode of season 3 and some predictions about what I think is going to happen during the second half of the season. So be thinking about your predictions as well, because I definitely want to get your thoughts about what you think might be coming up for the second half of the season. Real quickly though, you guys, because this is a case study about what I've been saying forever. I want to share something with you. Now, I've always said that there's no way for anyone to see this show and not like it. The only reason someone is not watching this show is because they haven't seen this show. Case study number 1. So this past weekend, we had a cookout at my brother's house, and a friend of mine was there, and he was asking me about the interview with Daniel Wu, which incidentally, if you haven't seen, you have to check it out, because we deep dive into the show, wascally wabbit. We deep dive into the show, and he does answer some questions that you may have had about the show. So make sure you check that video out. I will link it up at the end of this video. So real quickly, he said, listen, how was the interview? I said, oh man, it was awesome. You know, Into the Badlands is such a good show, and Daniel did such a great job of really diving deep into the show. It was a great interview. I said, dude, it's the best show on TV. Here's his response. No, it isn't. My response, have you seen it? No, it isn't. No, I just know it isn't. Is his response. Because is it better than Walking Dead? My response, have you seen it? I'm not here to say whether this show is better than The Walking Dead or not. I will leave that up to the fans out there to decide that. All I'm saying is that it's the best show on TV. And I asked him, have you seen it? And he said, no, I don't have to. I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. Now, you guys remember the challenge that I always issue. All anybody has to do is watch the first 10 minutes of episode 1, season 1, and I promise that you will be hooked. So we went downstairs and we watched the first 10 minutes of episode 1, season 1. Man, and we didn't almost binge the whole first season. Totally antisocial, right? We should be up there, upstairs, conversing with everybody else. We're down there watching Into the Badlands. He couldn't stop watching it. And it got to the point where even his wife was like, you're still watching this show? He was hooked. I told you, case study. Impossible for you not to get hooked if you start watching the show, because there's just so many great things about the show. That said, let's talk about predictions for season 3, episode 9. So the last season really just kind of left us on the edge of our seats. I know, listen, I know that you were probably like me, wondering like, wow, like you could not wait for what was to come, and you were probably a little disappointed, because I was thinking the mid-season break would be maybe a couple of weeks, and then come to find out it's in January. Whatever, we're not going to get into that. We know it's in January. We'll just have to look forward to when January comes. But there were so many things in this episode that really kind of had us all on the edge of the season. Probably 2 of the biggest things were, 1, Pilgrim getting a dark gift, and 2, what happened in that scene with Minerva and the Master in Baron Child's home. So let's talk about a little bit of that. Let's start with Pilgrim getting the dark gift first. So guys, you know, you have to think about how significant this is, because when you think about who he pulled that gift from, think about the fact that that gift came from Henry, and remember what Imkara said about Henry and the level or the power of the gift that flowed through Henry. She'd never seen anything like it. So this isn't just like a little drip. This is like an overdose. So Pilgrim got like the full spectrum of the gift, because whatever Henry had in him, Pilgrim pulled all of it out of Henry into himself. So that just pretty much makes him just a beast, right? I mean, not to mention the abilities that he had before, and we don't even know what all of those are, right? Because we know that Cressida does say Pilgrim has many abilities. So whatever those were, and now for him to have the dark gift is just crazy. And we also know that he has the mentality that the folks around them need to be governed, right? That he's going to use the gift to shape things as they should be. That dude getting the gift is a problem. And even Daniel Wu says in our interview, he likens Pilgrim getting the gift to giving someone the nuclear code. So we have an idea that that's going to be a problem, which sets up an interesting scenario, right? Because now you either have people that are going to either be on one of two sides, right? You're either going to be Team Pilgrim or what appears to be right now Team Sunny. Who knows how that's all going to play out. But people are either going to be on one of two sides. And it does appear, and Daniel did kind of allude to this, that like now it's all hands on deck, right? Like everybody pick up a sword because we're going to battle and we need every single person to engage the enemy. So Pilgrim getting this gift was a very big deal, but it does set up some interesting questions, right, for the rest of the folks in the show. What's going to happen to Nyx? Now, I said before that I saw Nyx actually going Team Widow, but I'm not even sure if that's going to happen now. I do think that Nyx is disenchanted with Pilgrim after what happened to Castor, and I think that she's seen some things a little bit differently now when it comes to Pilgrim. So I do think that she flips. At first, I did say Team Widow, but what does Team Widow look like now? We don't even know what Team Widow looks like now. Now that she's had that encounter with the Master, is she even still on the same journey? Is she going to accept a different mission, a different outlook, a different goal? Who knows what that's going to look like? But I do think that there will definitely be differentiated sides, and who knows whose side is she even going to join? Is she going to join Sunny? And I know you guys are probably thinking, yeah, of course, you moron, Al. She's going to join Sunny's side or whatever side is opposite Pilgrim. Who knows is what I'm saying. Who knows? So we got to see what happens there. So I got my eye on Nyx because I want to see what happens to her. I'm going to tell you some predictions about her and some other folks I think are going to happen with her later on in the show. But I got my eye on her. I've got my eye on MK. Now remember, let's not sleep on MK. Because MK's ability with the gift is also ratcheted up too. You know, apparently people have these gifts in different doses, right, or levels. So MK is up here too. So don't sleep on MK. So I've got my eye on MK to see what happens with him as well. My thought, even though he's Team Pilgrim right now, is that MK goes back to Team Sunny. I think that the relationship between those two is just kind of too strong for MK to continue to resist the connection with Sunny, and plus MK doesn't know all that's gone on. He's really Team Pilgrim because of what he thinks happened with his mom. He doesn't know that. So if he finds out the truth of that and things are not as they seem, I definitely see MK going back to Team Sunny, if there even is a Team Sunny, because again, we don't know what's going on here. So I've got my eye on that as well. I've also got my eye on Gaius. Now, I've said before that there's something going on with Gaius, more than meets the eye here. And I do think that there probably was a glimmer, honestly, of truth that his sister said to Minerva. I think that that's probably true. I think there's more going on with him. And I do not think that he just has this undying love or affinity for the widow. He has an end game that's his end game. And I'm interested to see what that is. I'm also interested to see how his mom plays out in this. You guys have noticed that they mention mom a lot. So I do think that if not this season, we probably will get a chance to meet her. I don't know how important she will be to the whole narrative, but I'm interested to see who she is and to meet her, because I feel like she is a powerful enough character if she has some sway over how her, Baron Chow, I always want to call her Madam Chow from Iron Fist. Baron Chow is governing things because she seems to govern with her in mind. She seems to give her some kind of deference or care about how she feels in terms of how she operates or does some things. So I'm interested to see if they pull her in as well. Whole bunch of predictions, right, going on about who Sunny's sister is. I made a crazy prediction. Yes, I know it was crazy, that I thought it was the widow. It's not the widow. I was wrong. But I do think that we are going to get to meet Sunny's sister in the second half of season 3, so it'll be really cool to see who she is, how she plays a role in all of this as well. Plus, I can't wait for those two to meet just to find out who she is and what Sunny's reaction is when he finds out more about her. The whole Sunny story arc has been just super cool. Think about this. Think about where Sunny was in season 1 and where he is now. It's totally different, and think about the progression of where he started in terms of who he was and who he has become. It's been really interesting to see. Interestingly enough, that's why I always say the fighting in this show is phenomenal, but the storytelling is just as good in my opinion. It is just phenomenal. So, want to see what's going on with that as well. I also want to know what's going on with Baji. So Baji's a really interesting character, you guys, and when Daniel and I were talking about him during the interview, I said one of the things about Baji which is so fascinating to me is that he's kind of a funny, a happy-go-lucky character, kind of always upbeat, very optimistic, very opportunistic, but at the same time, he is someone that you take seriously. So that's what's so cool about his character, because he's always making you laugh. He's almost kind of like he's a goofball, but at the same time, he'll say something, or he'll do something, or he'll know something about something. And then you think to yourself, you know what? Whoa, like don't sleep on this dude. This dude knows more than he lets on to know. And we see that in so many instances in the show when he's having conversations and he'll mention this about that, or Sunny's like, how do you know that? Or how do you know this? Or when he's talking to Cressida and he's able to read the book of Azura. Baji has more stuff going on with him than he is letting on. So I'm interested to see now what happens with Baji as well, because Baji told Sunny that this is a bad idea and Sunny goes along with it anyway. So we'll see what happens with Baji's story arc and how he progresses as well along in the story. So there's so much, right? So much for us to look forward to. So I want to end on this. I could say so much more, but let me see my time. I'm almost at 12 minutes, so I want to wrap this up. So Minerva or the Widow. What are your predictions about Minerva or the Widow? What's going to happen here? Now, I know everybody's assumption, mine included, is when she has that encounter with the Master, is that she's going to get her dark gift back. I mean, that's what all that means, right? I need for you to remember. I need for you to prepare. And then the touch on the head. And, oh, that's my phone. I'll answer that later. So, what does all of that mean? Actually, hey, can I call you back? I am literally in the middle of a video. Can I call you? Okay, bye-bye. Mom supports the video. All right, guys, let's keep going. So, what does all of that mean? Now, the assumption is that that means that she's going to get the restoration of her gift, but do we know that that's what that means? I'm not so sure that's what that means, so I'm interested to see how all of that plays out as well. So there's a lot for us to look forward to, a lot for us to be excited about the second half of the season. So guys, what are your predictions? What are you thinking? What are your ideas about what might happen during the second half? I want to leave with this. The final thing I want to say is that I do think that there will be some deaths. I do think that there will be some losses. These are my top 3. I do think that Nyx, I think, will likely go, only because we haven't had a lot of development of her character and she's primarily been tied to Pilgrim. I hope she doesn't, actually. I think that she has a pretty interesting arc that they could really build upon. Plus, I'd like to find out more about her, but I think that Nyx might not make it out of this season. I also think that Lydia might not make it out of this season as well, just because I'm not really sure where they might take her character, even though I love her. I told Daniel during our interview, like, I'd love to have her on my team because she's so smart. She's always thinking like a couple moves ahead. Like, she's always playing chess is the analogy that I use, and I think she's super smart, so I hope that they keep her around. So I also think that quite possibly either Tilda or Moon could go this season as well, and I would hate to see either one of them go, just because there's such great additions to the show, and I love their characters as well, and I want to see what happens with their character arcs. I just feel like there's so much more that can be said about all of the players in this show. that you hate to see anyone go, but those are my predictions, so I'm wondering what yours are as well. That said, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this video. Again, if you've not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do so. We do cover Into the Badlands heavily, but we do other things on this video, on this channel as well. But we've just gotten so engrossed in the show. Make sure that you support the show. There's a big push to get Into the Badlands to New York Comic-Cons. Make sure that anytime you're talking about the show, you're rocking the hashtag Into the Badlands. Can't leave without mentioning there is a Facebook group. I will put the link in the description below. It is a fabulous group of folks that watch the show, and it's an international group, so it's really cool because there are people from all over the world in that group. It's a closed group, and we get heavily into the show, a lot of fun stuff going on around the show. So if you love Into the Badlands and you're looking for a global community that really celebrates the Into the Badlands show, check out the Facebook group, link in the description. I'm a part of that group. Even some of the folks that were a part of that show are a part of the group as well. So there's a lot going on there in the group. Link in the description for that. Finally, if you've not seen the interview with Daniel Wu and I, make sure that you check that out. I will link that up at the end of this video because it's really good. We dive deep into the show and he does answer some awesome questions. That said, you guys, thank you so much. Again, make sure that you subscribe, support the show, hashtag Into the Badlands. We're going to just kill that hashtag all over the place. Let AMC know how much we love the show. And with that, I will see you on the next video.